You know what I was thinking yesterday? Geez, this Jussie Smollett case is actually really, really interesting. If only there was a way to tie it into rideshare. Okay, that didn't actually happen. However, it turns out the Jussie Smollett case, we can actually discuss it on the Apptrepreneur because rideshare played a huge role in finding out that it was a complete and utter hoax. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Now, before we talk about anything in the show, I have to make an admission. I love this show. Love it, love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it. One of my favorite shows on TV right now. I love Empire. I never miss an episode. And by the way, I am more than excited to see who is in the mysterious casket before the end of the season. Now, I've had some theories about who it might be, but with recent events, shall we say, I'm thinking they might be a big surprise, or maybe not so much a surprise. Who knows? Because as you may have been hearing, one of the actors from the show, Jussie Smollett, was arrested and is now out on a $100,000 bail bond. Now, who was Jussie Smollett? Well, Jussie Smollett is one of the actors in the show, and he does a very good job. I think his R&B songs are actually very, very good. They're a standout in the show, and I'm not surprised he's been able to channel that into a music career. However, about a few weeks ago, he claimed he was attacked by MAGA Trump supporters. Like, he was apparently beaten, poured bleach on, there was a noose put around his neck, and, you know, these white Trump supporters said, "This is MAGA country." Now, I actually joined most of me in saying that's horrible. Like, I really felt sorry that that had happened. One of my friends said that it's probably false. And his thinking is that, you know, this is MAGA country is not how Trump supporters see themselves. This is what a caricature of a Trump supporter is to a very liberal person. He also pointed out that it was in Chicago, and in particularly the area that he was in, a lot of gay people, a lot of black people, a lot of very liberal people. It seemed very unlikely that this would actually go unnoticed. And I guess the police eventually found that that was a little suspicious as well, because they dug deeper and deeper, and then they determined it was a hoax. Apparently there's so much evidence, they even have the check that Jussie wrote to his attackers that, you know, he paid them to attack him. And he's in some very, very hot water now. And apparently, Uber data records were used to help come to this conclusion. According to CNET, Uber data used to identify accomplices in stage Jussie Smollett attack, police say. And there's his mugshot. He's might not be his only mugshot from what I hear. It was an Uber mistake for Jussie Smollett's fake assault. On Wednesday, Smollett, who appeared in Fox's Empire, turned himself in to Chicago police, who faced charges that he faked a late January attack in downtown Chicago. Smollett said two men yelled racial and homophobic slurs while beating him. Among the key pieces of evidence Chicago cops used to determine Smollett's report of a hate crime was a hoax, the Uber records of the brothers he allegedly hired for the fake attack. In surveillance footage, investigators saw Ola and Abdel Asundaro, I probably mispronounced that, who Smollett allegedly paid $3,500 to stage the fake brawl, calling a rideshare car to the North Side neighborhood in Chicago. They had taken cabs part of the way, but the data from the rideshare call gave investigators two names they could track down. You know, I'm wondering, would it not be cool if one of, you know, the Chicago Uber tubers had actually been the ones to pick this up? That we would have had like a little mini celebrity. But, oh well, probably not. That's probably hoping for too much. Quote, "We followed up on the rideshare, and that was the lead that we needed in order to identify the two persons of interest," Edward Woodnicki, a Chicago police commander, said during a press conference on Thursday. Police used videos from surveillance cameras across the city and security footage from private citizens' cameras to track the brothers' trail, the commander said. Uber didn't respond to a request for comment. The investigators also reached out to Lyft for information, the rideshare company said in an email. Well, they were probably only going to take one, and apparently that was Uber. Once police had Ullah and Abdel's names from Uber, Smollett's scheme unraveled. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson and Smollett arranged the assault in order to raise his profile and negotiate a better salary on Empire. Police educated more than 50 warrants on the two, obtaining phone records and social media information on the brothers. They were able to match Ullah with the Uber ride through the phone records and data provided by Uber. They found call records between Smollett and Abel after the staged attack, as well as text messages between the two plotting the scheme. Tech companies often get requests from law enforcement during investigations. By the way, this is the important part for anyone watching this who's thinking about doing stupid and using Uber as a getaway or a ride or whatever. This is the real important part. And tech companies often get requests from law enforcement during investigations, and they usually provide the data that is sought. Sometimes these requests can conflict with the company's privacy standards, such as when Apple refused to break its encryption for an FBI investigation into a terrorist attack in San Bernardino. The FBI also tried forcing Facebook to wiretap conversations on Messenger, which the social network fought, although there was a fun little glitch where, you could actually hear someone's phone conversation of you if they rejected you. These requests are often outlined in a company's transparency reports. Apple, for example, reported it had received 32,342 government requests for the data in the second half of 2018. Uber received 231 search warrants on 1,595 accounts in 2017 and provided data on 1,355 of them, according to their transparency report. There's a fly there. One search warrant can contain requests for information from multiple accounts. Lyft received 248 search warrants the same year and fully complied with 152 of them. Bottom line, if you do something wrong and the police basically issue a warrant at Uber or Lyft, they're not going to bat for you. They're giving the police the information. Smollett appeared in court Thursday, where a judge set his bond at $100,000. The actor declined to speak to media at the courthouse, but his attorney, Mark Geragos, told CBS News in a statement that his client would defend himself against the charges. Yada, yada, yada. Smollett faces a felony charge of up to 3 years in prison. So there you go. Ratted out by the Uber driver, or the Uber record, so to speak. So anyway, this is actually not an unusual situation, it should be mentioned. We hear stories all the time of people who are using the convenience of Uber to try to get away with one crime or another. The most common thing is that people who rob banks, they're calling the Uber while they're robbing the bank, and the Uber driver shows up. And this is like a stupid thing to do, because the Uber driver is probably not going to cooperate. And then, yeah, you have records. You know, all they have to do is subpoena that Uber record and they will find you. And it's interesting because this has not been discussed in the media too often. I mean, this is on CNET now, so obviously they're covering it. But it's interesting that the Uber records ended up being the first tip-off to finding out that what Jussie did was a hoax. And by the way, I'm very angry about the hoax. I mean, because when you lie about things like this, it should not have to be stated. But I'm going to say anyway, you ruin it for the people who have genuinely been attacked in a hate crime, a beating, a robbing, whatever. You make up a case like this, and any future thing that comes up, like any future hate crime, unfortunately now it's looked at with suspicion by some people, because it's like, oh, there goes someone making something up just so they can get a pay raise, or just to make Trump supporters look bad, or heck, in some cases just to make Bernie Sanders look. I've seen some Bernie Sanders tweets that are like, come on guys. But anyway, so that's the story. Jussie Smollett, I think he's going to go to jail personally, and I think he deserves to go to jail. And even though I really like his character on Empire, I would like them to take this time. I know they've got a couple episodes left to film before the season ends. It seems like, I know that they probably had a different purpose for the mysterious casket. I think it might be time to do some quick rewrites behind and have Jussie Smollett's character die peacefully and be gracefully retired from the show. And because he's not coming back after this. And I don't even think anyone would really want to work with him after the stunt he pulled. But you know what? Hey, that's just me. What says you? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about the story of how Uber's records actually tilted the investigation in favor of them catching this guy in the act? What do you think about that? Do you think the Uber records should be used that way, or are you offended that they are so easily obtained? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping this channel run smoothly, and you get access to my exclusive patrons only blog. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.